right, Mr. Miyagi style. Everybody, happy Saturday to you, gals and guys out there. I'm doing a segment here to help out some of the questions that I've been getting about 8K. I just want to cover a few things first and just rant a little bit before I get into it. There's been a lot of talk about 8K, and I think Ace Pro was the one that actually jump started this chat about a year ago when they released their action camera with the 8K 24 frames per second shooting. Now, it's a great mode. Unfortunately, it's on 24 frames per second. I wish it was a little bit higher. Now, the Ace Pro 2 is promising 30 frames per second, which will add a little bit more stability to that motion. Time will tell how great this 8K 30 is going to be. I kind of wish they would have pushed 60 frames per second on the 8K, which would have made the motion a little bit better. Um, and people have been talking about 8K and saying that, oh, we don't need 8K, it doesn't play on anything, we made the same exact mistake with 4K years back. I remember this exact same mentality is that, oh, we will never need 4K. We're 1080p or 14 or 2K is more than enough, right? And look at here where we are today. 4K is a standard for every device that's out there. Phones, cameras, drones, that kind of thing. And we've seen 8K. 8K's been around for actually a while. We saw it in drones way back. We've seen it in large format cameras, that kind of thing. And when I was at Best Buy, when I left Best Buy a couple years ago, they were selling 8K TVs already. Sony just released their first 16K TV. Now, are we ever going to get the 16K? It's going to be years before we get that. But they always kind of like to go way ahead of everybody, right? The devices that will play 8K, your computer can play it. And I'm going to show you how to do it. A lot of people are having some issues with playing 8K on their computer, especially from the action camera from the Ace Pro. And I'll show you a trick on how to get it to play on your and edit the 8K on your computer. Now, phone's a little bit touchy because not everybody has the same power phone. Like some people have cheaper phones and some people have flagship phones. And of course, 8K won't work with some of those phones, right? And that's 4K can barely work on my phone, especially when it comes to editing. So I don't like doing things on my phone. I know some people do, and that's fine. I rather do things on my PC when I have big screens. I can actually see the colors and details a little bit better. Where you can't see anything on the phone, everything looks good, right? On a PC, when you put on a PC, it looks very different. The whole 8K mentality. Look at the cameras out now. We now have cameras out that are actually shooting 8K, usually full frame cameras or digital SLRs. Drones are now in 8K. You can find drones in 8K. Look at the X1 Pro Max, that little selfie drone that I have. They have one up on that, which is the Pro Max model, and it actually shoots 8K. So we're seeing that saturating the market now, and I think in 2025 is where we're going to see an explosion on 8K, where it's going to become a little bit more and more popular, a little bit more standardized in homes, right? Look at TVs. They've been selling 8K TVs for 2 years, and go on Best Buy, you can buy an 8K TV for like a 65-inch for like $1,000 now, Canadian, and that's cheap, right? But that's coming. So I just want to prep you on how to work with 8K files. Now, granted that 8K is much bigger file, what it has to be because it's 4 times the resolution of 4K. And people are saying, oh, we don't need 8K and 4K is just fine. But if you do your research and look at everybody, there's actually, and I'll show you on the screen here. If you go to this person right here, he's a professional cinematographer, and he talks about why he shoots exclusively in 8K. And the reason why he uses 8K, which is, I'll drop the link in my description. You can check them out. There's a whole bunch of these professional videographers, cinematographers. They're actually shooting 8K. The reason why they do it is because when you take an 8K, that's 4 times the resolution, you downsample it to 4K, it's still going to look better than raw 4K footage. Because what you're initially doing is when this person explains, you're taking all those pixels. There's more pixels in 8K. Because obviously the resolution is higher, and you're actually compressing those pixels to get into downsample to 4K. So you're getting more detail with that 4K or that 8K converted 4K. And he tells you that right off the bat, and that's what he uses to push those resolution out of his 4K video. The other thing that we don't really think about is on an 8K video, he also explains that you can crop in better. The more you zoom in, the more everything's pixelated, right? So technically, when you do that with 8K, yes, it'll still pixelate, but you're still gonna retain a lot of that quality in an 8K video. So those are the other things that we have to kind of keep in mind. Will it hit the market like it did with 4K? Absolutely, because technology is advancing so fast. The gap between one advancement in technology to the other is closing in. That's why we're seeing cameras coming out every year. If they could come out 6 months, every 6 months, they would. Are they interim upgrades? Yeah, some are, some aren't, right? Everything comes out every year now, not just cameras. We're looking at cars, appliances. I sold that stuff for a lot of years, and so I see the demographic, and I see the trend, and I see the technology advancing. Look at drones. We're getting 2 drones every year, pretty much, right? You know, a lot of people say, well, a lot of these are just interim upgrades, and some of them are, and I agree. But there are some that are huge advancements in terms of technology, right? Next year, I think we're going to see a lot more 8K come in, a lot more 8K technology coming in. Cameras like the Canon R5, the Sony 7RV, even the Nikon Z9, they're all 8K SLRs, right? And then we get into large format, and Ace Pro will be the first one, and still is the first one to put 8K in an action camera. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, we don't need 8K in action camera." We do and we don't. The reason why is because everybody uses their camera differently. There are people that will actually utilize that 8K for their style of shooting. Just because you don't do it in your day-to-day use, that doesn't mean that it's a useless feature. This is the whole fight, like the night mode. I'm constantly in my channel having the arguments with people with night shooting. We still have people with mentality, oh, we don't need night shooting. Nobody uses their camera after the sun goes down, which is BS. Come on, guys. We're opening up a whole new shooting environment with low light capabilities. It's not perfect, but it's usable. Guys, like everybody's, oh, it looks crappy. So you would rather not have anything than something that looks decent. I don't get it. You would rather not have those memories than have some memories. That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm trying to explain to people, but they don't get it. It's just because their cameras can't do it, and you know who you are, that means it's not important to other people, which really boggles my mind, because that mentality is just ludicrous. To have low light capabilities is great. It opens up a whole slew of shooting styles, creative shooting styles for different people. More and more are we seeing people using their phone and action camera shooting on an indoor environment. And that's, sorry to break it to you guys, but that's low light, guys. It's not just about shooting at night. It's about shooting in a low light environment and the capabilities of doing that. It's that simple. Anyways, I don't want to get into a low light argument, but the 8K is kind of a thing, right? I understand we don't need it, and a lot of people don't want it and don't use it. And I still know people who shoot in 1080p and 2K, and they're fine with it, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can't turn around and tell people they don't need it. Other people they don't need it, because they might need it. They might want to push that quality a little bit further, right? And there's nothing wrong with getting ready for the future. And this is the point of the segment, is me prepping you guys for the future and how to work with 8K files now, because I think it's going to really come in next year. And we're already starting to see the start of it. It started last year, and we're starting to see more and more of that coming out. It's the same thing as 4K. This is exactly what 4K did. And now look at 4K, right? Well, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to describe, sorry for the rant, guys. I just had to kind of get that off the top of my head. There's a couple links I'm going to give you guys, and those are helpful links, and it describes the difference between 4K and 8K, and why 8K is used, and the advantages of using 8K and downsampling to 4K. And you can go ahead and do a search. It's all there, guys. Google's your best friend. Do a search. There's another link I'm going to give you that's going to be pointing to a software that I've been using for years, and I use it all the time. I do a lot of encoding and decoding a lot. I do a lot of conversions, so this is a really good utility and tool to have installed on your computer. And it's the key to to actually viewing 8K video on your computer. I'm going to show you a sample of an 8K video. I usually use VLC to play all my videos. It's kind of a standard for phones as well as PCs. Excuse me, I'm going to drink my coffee. Woo! Java time! This segment is going to cover a couple things. And this is for newcomers, the newbies, the people who don't know a lot about 8K, that want to learn a little bit more about it and how to deal with 8K files. For you experts out there, you can just hit next and don't even watch this because it's probably going to be boring for you guys. But if you want to watch it, hey, great, awesome, I appreciate it. But yeah, it's to kind of show the average user, and this is my point of my channel, is to my target audience is the average user, the people, and I'm not targeting power users, I'm targeting the people who are new to cameras, who are new to files, new to 8K, new to 4K, new to different types of devices, and to show them that is this device for you? If it's not, then look at something else, right? So that's the point. I'm not loyal to one product, guys. You know me. I love my Ace Pro, but I will recommend a DJI if it means that that's what they need it for. And I will sometimes even recommend a GoPro. Not really likely, but I just don't like their ethics. You know, my belief is to find the device that works for you, and it doesn't have to be a specific brand. You know, I'll give you an example. If a camera has better night mode shooting than the next camera, and that person needs that low light capabilities, of course I'm going to push them to that camera. If a person wants the best stabilization in an action camera, we all know GoPro is a professional at this. They've been working on it for years and years. They've had 13 cameras to work on this, and I will push somebody towards the GoPro, right? So I'm not biased to one company. I have my favorite company, but I'm not biased. That's not the reason why I'm here. Anyways, guys, I'm going to cover a couple things here. I don't want to make this too long. I'm going to go through these really quickly. If you have any questions, just ask in the comment section. First and foremost, the most complaint I have is I can't play 8K on my computer. Well, I can't either, believe it or not. When I first started, and I have a pretty good system, you know, Ryzen 5, I've got a pretty nice NVIDIA graphics card. It's a relatively new system. I got it about a year ago. So it's actually considered it's actually considered a gaming computer. It's an Asus ROG desktop. And it can't play 8K videos, which is crazy. Now, there's a trick to this. It's software specific with the 8K. If you look at my screen here on the left-hand side, the first place you want to go to, I'll show you a sample here. Right now I've got 3 files on here, okay? So the first file is the video that I shot in 8K, okay? It's just a sample I shot with my dog in my backyard. It's shot on the Ace Pro in 8K 24 frames per second. When I try to play, my default player is VLC. So when I try to play, this is what happens. It flickers, I don't get video, and I get sound, okay? VLC is actually pretty good. They play pretty much anything out there, but 8K, it struggles. And some people have had luck with playing 8K on VLC. Maybe they have a very different video card than I do, but on mine, 8K just does not work on VLC. So as you can see, you can turn on my volume here. You can hear the sound, but there's no video. Now, interesting enough, if I use, if I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to do open with another program, okay? Notice it plays fine. It's the same video. Oh, sorry. Notice it plays fine. Sound is there. Everything syncs properly. It plays. No problem at all, right? So yes, I can play 8K video. And just to prove that I'm not lying and blah, 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 look at the file. It's on the top. So I've got it on my desktop here. If I right click and go to properties, and you can tell by going to details, 8K, just look at here, frame width and height. So 8K is 7680 by 4320, okay? So if I double click on the same file with the default player, which is VLC, this is what happens. It won't play, right? But if I right click on it, and I use a player called Media Player, and I'll explain why it's called Media Player. It's a classic version, and when I do that, it plays just fine, right? So So how do I get this to work? Go on the link at the bottom to a site called kodakguide.com. I've been using these guys for years and years and years, even before 4K probably. What this program does is download the Kodak pack, the K-Lite Kodak pack, and install it. It installs all the necessary Kodaks that you need for every video audio source that's out there. And it will decode pretty much anything. So when you play a video, it actually does real-time decoding of that video, whether it's H.264, H.265, whatever. So I think 8K has a tough time Windows by default. The Kodak used in Windows doesn't work very well. It doesn't decode properly. And when you download this and install it, it actually installs a bunch of Kodaks onto your computer, and it also adds a program called Media Player Classic. This one right here. It looks like this. If you guys remember the old Windows, it's the old Windows. It's kind of the old Windows media player on steroids. Now, once you install this, the only way to play that 8K is through this media player. Okay, and if I run it. Okay, and I go to file, I just drag this file over, and it plays perfectly fine, right? So if I run media player, or if I run VLC, let me just bring down that window for you. Just gonna bring it out here. I'm gonna take that same file and drag it down, and look what happens to it doesn't play. It only plays the audio. See, I have it on 2 windows. Pretty well, right? Man, I love this OBS Studio. This app is so cool. It's free. It allows me to capture sources from everywhere. It's just wild. I use this a lot for tutoring. Anyway, so you get the gist. Or for people that are having problems playing 8K on their computer, and the computer is relatively new, or even like I said, I have an i5 system that's 4 or 5 years old, and it did the same thing as this, and this is a newer system. And once I install that K-Lite Kodak pack and run that media player, it runs at 8K perfectly fine. And VLC won't run it for some weird reason. And I've tried doing search on, some people have got it work, had luck with VLC, doing a couple of changes here and there, but I haven't had luck changing my VLC settings to play 8K. And I've played around for so long. If anybody has any tips on VLC playing 8K, please let me know. I would love to. I love VLC because I use it for all of my videos. Anyways, that's it. Now, I've showed you how to play the 8K on your computer. Now, editing's a different story. If you can't play 8K on your computer, chances are some of the editing software won't work either. There's only 2 that I've found that will work on a PC Windows system that I can edit 8K videos, especially the ones from Ace Pro, effectively. One is DaVinci Resolve, okay, and the other one is CapCut, okay. Both of these software are free. You can pay to get more features, but most of the editing tools and what you need to do to get out to social media or whatever, even to an 8K TV or whatever, is free, okay. I'm going to start with DaVinci Resolve. I love DaVinci Resolve. I don't use it as much anymore. I used to use it a lot when I was doing color grading with the AVE Action 4 and my previous GoPros. I just don't do color. I'm just gotten so lazy, and when I started my channel, I've been so busy pushing out content for people and doing requests that I just don't have as much time to color grade. And it does take a lot of time to color grade, guys. Don't get me wrong. This is why I'm so somewhat against 10-bit, 8-bit arguments, especially for a lot of my users which don't even know what 10-bit is, that I like to get into a camera, and I love the Ace Pro for that one reason. You know, it's not the best camera. Come on, guys. Let's be honest. Sorry, I got to turn on my camera here. It's not the best camera, action camera that's out there, but it allows a user to, because of the color processing technique that it uses, it gives you good footage right out of the camera without having to do a lot of posts. And that's always been my argument with that camera. I'm not a fanboy to them. It is just a camera that is a favorite in my bag, and I have several cameras in my bag, and they're not all Insta360. I still use my Action 4 for many reasons. If I want to push that color, if I want to push that 10-bit, and I have the hours to put into color grading and get some really cool effects done, I would use the A4. But lately, you know, I've been using LUTs a lot, and I want to get into more. I got into that from my previous video, is getting to LUTs tables. They're just basically log profiles, really. There's just incorporating preset color grading features onto your video without having to actually do a lot of work yourself manually. And you can find LUTs are free. You can find a million LUTs out there for free. I have a site that gives you free LUTs, and you can just go through the LUTs and see how you like your video looks, and then just incorporate that, export, and you're done. Right? It's a no-brainer. Well, I think that's my biggest thing, is to try to teach people an easy way to use their camera, not having to fuss and muss a lot. And I get it, guys. The pros are gonna say, oh well, it's you know, you can't do. Guys, I'm not here to say that 10-bit is worse. I'm just saying that 8-bit is more than enough for the average user. That's all. And the average users don't know how to, or have the tools, or have the time, or the skills to color grade. That's my argument. Anyways, I'm gonna get into that. That's another segment. So here's my on the window here, you'll see DaVinci Resolve. I bought my copy, so I just splurged, because I used to do a lot in DaVinci. And for me to drag that video onto DaVinci, it's kind of nice, because DaVinci allows me to do 8K editing without, see, I can edit and I can play 8K on DaVinci. That's the same file that I just dragged in from the top there. And I can go into color processing, and if I want to, I can put in my favorite LUTs tables. Where is it? It's over here. See, if I go into LUTs, I have like literally thousands of them on the left hand side, and you know, I can put in like a cool LUT. So let's say this is my video here. Let's expand it so you can see a little bit better. Can you see better? Make it better for you guys. If you look at the bottom here, these are all your color grading tools at the bottom. For the most average users, when they look at this, they want to jump off a bridge. They'll be like, where do I start? For me, I've been doing this for years. I know what I have to do at the bottom. I can color grade very efficiently down at the bottom here. But for the average user, which is the target audience that I usually like to talk to, is they have no clue what this is at the bottom. Okay, and this is where the LUTs come in. LUTs is I have a ton of presets here on the left hand side, you'll see, and it gives you samples. And as you mouse over to those samples, it actually gives you a sample of your video, what it looks like. You see it? It changes, right? So if I go to let's go Black Magic, see more prominent. Yeah, see how it changed. Let's see on the, I don't know if it shows up on the screen. It should show up pretty good. Okay, here we go. Yeah, see, this is more, you can see it more here. So as you mouse over it, it'll show you a sample of what your video, you can do with your video. And that's I didn't even have to do anything. All I have to do is click that, drag it over, and it automatically puts some of your, I can just export it and it's done, right? Which is really cool. So one of my favorite LUTs is this one here, and I did one already. It kind of gives you that old country look. Color. What I do is called Dawn 01 LUTs. It's an adventure. You can buy them. You can download. There's a site that just gives out free LUTs, and it's awesome. It's basically log. It's like log profiles. You know, like in the Ace Pro, when you go to the right, bring over the menu, and then you can go to ocean. You can go to flat. What I have to do is I have to just drag this over to my video here, drop it down, automatically incorporates the LUTs, and I can play it. And it's already done in my video, right? Sorry, it's kind of stuttering because I have like a million apps opening up. I think it's my OBS studio is probably causing it to stutter a little bit. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. If I go to here and I can export it, I'm just gonna put location and pick the file. And the neat thing about test. The neat thing about this is that I can change it to the resolution. On DaVinci, it allows me to downsample to 4K. So this is an 8K file, and I can downsample it to 4K, or I can export it as 8K in that color profile. If I download to 4K, which is 3840 by 2160 Ultra HD, I can also drop it to 30 frames per second. I can move it from 24 to 30 frames per second, and then I'll just export it, add to render, and I just render it on here. Okay, finished product is basically, let me just close this off. Don't save. So this is the finished product, which is exported, and it was done in DaVinci. It was exported in 4K downsampled, right, with that color LUTs. Okay, looks great, right? Easy way to do it. If you now DaVinci is a little bit more complex in terms. If you saw the tools, sometimes when people bring up DaVinci, they're like, "Oh gosh, what do I start?" They're a little bit intimidated by how complex that tool is. Oh, they're like, "Where do I start?" They're closing to give up. But here's the other tool that I think I use it. Actually, I use this tool quite a bit for my work. Most of my videos that I go onto YouTube is actually done in CapCut. And I absolutely love this app. I have the free version, and I'm literally thinking about subscribing to it. It's like $12 a month Canadian, and I get all the pro tools because the CapCut, and there's a CapCut Pro, just like DaVinci Resolve, right? The CapCut is free for every user out there. It's actually available on your phone as well as on the PC. And then there's CapCut Pro, which you'll see in a minute. So this is CapCut. If I want to start a new project, I just start it up. You're going to see a timeline here and a sample. And you'll see things like this. So I'm just going to drag this file down, the 8K file. And look at this. It handles 8K perfectly fine. Plays it just like DaVinci, right? CapCut allows me to edit 8K files without any issues. And the funny thing with CapCut and DaVinci is I didn't actually have to download that K Lite codec pack to have it work in those two apps. It actually worked in those two apps natively in terms of editing 8K. It's the player that was the problem because I downloaded a bunch of 8K players, didn't work. Once I installed that codec and using that Media Player Classic, it worked perfectly fine. So that was kind of a weird thing, right? They must have their internal decoding and encoding algorithm within those apps to do that, I'm guessing. This is CapCut right here, and I did a segment on CapCut already. Now, somebody said that CapCut doesn't allow you to export to 8K. Yes, it does, and I'll show you in a second. If you look at CapCut, and I go to, let's say I've got it on my timeline here. I'm just going to expand the timeline a little bit, and I want to incorporate LUTs. Now, here's a cool thing. CapCut actually supports LUTs as well, just like DaVinci Resolve. So the LUTs that you download for DaVinci also works in CapCut, but you have to import it, right? And they'll show you how to do that. If you go to the top here, top right, and you go to adjustment, go down a little bit, you'll see these little things that say Pro, 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 Pro. Those are the only features that you get if you're a pro user, which is what I'm thinking I might do. Because there's a lot of really cool, like for example, I'm just going to go to the main menu on the right hand side. I'm just going to make that small so you can actually see here. You'll see a lot of pro features. Reduce image noise, optical flow, AI. They have a lot of AI stuff here, but it's only pro versions. So you don't need these. Like majority, I would say 90% of the editing tool, 95% editing tool that people need to do what they need to do and get it out in social media is free. If you want those extra features like reduce image noise or optical flow, stabilizing video, that kind of thing, you can actually, when you pay for it, you can actually activate those pro features. If you need those, then yes, you do have to pay for it. This is why I love CapCut. It's so easy to use, and honestly, if you look at the Insta360 Studio desktop app, it's actually starting to look and more like CapCut. I think they're trying to follow suit with these guys because it's such a popular software to use. Yeah, if I want to do just simple color grading, color corrections, I can actually go to my video here. Let me get my face in here, my ugly mutt face. And I can actually just click on a video and I can do simple color grading. Look at all the tools that's free that you get with color grading. I can do exposure if I want to get this brighter. I can expose it up and down. I can do contrast. I can do sharpen, clarity, and I can go to HSL, and I can muck around with the colors. I can do curves. Oh, grab my curves and play with that. I even have color wheels. It looks very familiar to the tools that we saw in DaVinci Resolve, but in a more easy interface. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to explain. For the average user that I cater to, this is a much easier software to use than DaVinci is. DaVinci was a huge learning curve for me when I first started using it. And there's still so much I don't know in DaVinci. It's crazy. It's crazy what DaVinci can do with video. You know, it's right up there with Premiere. A lot of people even prefer DaVinci over Premiere. And Premiere is much more expensive to buy than it is for DaVinci. And DaVinci is free. There's no free Premiere, right? So if you don't need all those special extra tools that DaVinci gives you in a paid app, it's still a good app as a free app to do what you need it to do. Anyways, so you have very good color editing tools in CapCut. And when I go to adjustment, remember I was talking about LUTs, right? So you'll see down the bottom, LUTs is free. As long as you install the LUTs, and there's a way to install, you have to go to preference and install the LUTs manually. Left hand side, you go to adjustments, and you go to LUT. And these are all the LUTs that I've installed onto, let me just go here, it's a lot easier. Looks familiar, right? When I go over these LUTs, just like DaVinci, it changes, it gives me an example of what the preset settings are on my video. And to an import, if you download a bunch of free ones, you can just go to the import button, import the LUTs, and just bring it in. Very, very cool that it has this. And all you have to do is click on it. You have to drag it in and automatically put. And you can actually, the neat thing about this is I can do segments with the LUT. So if I want only segments of my video, you'll see the little thing here. And I can drag this as far as I want and move it around my video. It only incorporates that preset LUTs in certain parts of my video. If I play it, see it changes. Like, it's the coolest app. And you saw how easy it was for me to just drop it down and just segment that or expand that timeline with that LUTs, right? Really cool stuff. The people who are saying that, oh, you can't, somebody in the Ace Pro group said, oh, I suggested using CapCut. He goes, well, you can't export 8K. I go, yeah, you can. So I sent him a screenshot of this with a drop down, and you'll see it says 8K export on it. He didn't reply. But, you know, I just really annoys me when people just slap information down. They don't do their research. We don't do critical thinking. We don't research anymore, right? You know, I've worked with CapCut for a long time, so I know the ins and outs of CapCut pretty well. So it does do 8K, but honestly, you can downsample. Again, we're back to the 8K downsampling to 4K. You know, there's a couple reasons why you want to do that. First of all, people are right. There's not a lot of devices and people who have problems playing 8K on. So if I export this to 8K and I send it to my friend, he's gonna have a problem playing with 8K without going through the steps I just went through with you, right? Unless he has an 8K TV, then yes, he can play on an 8K TV. But not a lot of people have 8K TVs right now. People are starting to buy them right now because the price have dropped so much since 2 years ago. That's why I'm saying that we are starting to see that movement with 8K. I saw that movement in the first quarter of this year. Really, Ace Pro was the one that jump started the whole thing, right, with their 8K camera. But we're now seeing more and more 8K cameras come out. But the thing is that you want to take that 8K, do your work, and plus you can't really do 8K on social media. There's really nothing that pumps out 8K on social media. But anyways, if you go down to 4K, you can change your FPS. You can even up. I don't think it never works well when you're jumping from 30 to 60. I don't really see much of a difference when you're upscaling frames per second. Usually when you go small increments is a little bit better. And you can change it to different codecs. You can go H.264, H.265, which is HEVC, and that kind of thing. And mostly I'll do custom. If I do here, I'll do custom bitrate, and I'll do the highest bitrate for the best quality for YouTube when I upload it. But yeah, you can export in CapCut. You can export. You can downsample. You can export it to 8K as well. But yeah, these are the tools that I'd use for 8K editing, guys. And so far they're the best tools that I've found. If I find any more, I'll let you guys know. But the segment here is to show you how to play 8K on your computer. If you can't play 8K, if you can play 8K on your computer, just leave it. But some computers don't. Like I'm running in my computer is an NVIDIA. It's a GTX GeForce, and it couldn't play. It couldn't play the. And I've tried different 8K quote unquote players via Windows Store and downloadables trials, and they never play 8K properly. The Media Classic Player Classic through K-Lite Kodak kit was free, didn't cost me anything, and it played 8K just fine. Like I said, guys, I'm here to help the people who are just getting into 8K and just kind of giving a little layman terms explanation of why 8K I think is going to saturate the market next year. It's going to come in like a tornado next year, I think. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, tips, if you guys know a better software or better player out there that works with 8K, please comment down. You know, if we can help as much people getting prepped up for 8K as possible, that's great. And that's the purpose of my videos. I hope that helps, guys. And like I said, have a great weekend and ciao.